Good morning. 11:02 and a half. And I'm looking at my audio indicator. My sound is okay, sound volume, and there I have audio confirmation. SpeakerBot should announce its presence pretty soon here. Speak of the devil. Oh, I wanted to turn that volume down a little bit. Do that right there. Yeah, Doug, you were a little late this morning. What happened? Uh-oh. The computer in the kitchen is playing the show. Ay, caramba. Let's see, where is that? What is that? Where is that thing? Where do I have that thing that says intermission? Not there. Oh, here it is. It's called I'll Be Back. No, that's going to be Arnold. Oh, there it is. Let's go to the lobby. I'll be right back.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Yeah, there we go. 2 minutes before showtime. I think 2 minutes is about right. A little backstory. I had restarted Big Beast Build maybe an hour ago. Just precautionary. It's been a while since I restarted it. I'm leaving it on 24/7 recently. And well, 2 minutes before showtime, I see that little orange dot that indicates an update is waiting to be installed, needing to restart the computer. So I went to check and see what it was, and it was a Bluetooth update for Bluetooth. I think, Bluetooth? I don't use that. And then I realized, wait a minute, yes, I do. This headset is Bluetooth. I better restart. So I restarted. That's why I was a little bit late by a couple of minutes. I've wasted more time than that just telling you about it, right? I pinned a message here. How many AI errors do you see in the thumbnail? I don't think anybody responded to that. I guess you're just not interested. All right. Hello, Frankie B. Like the Trader music. Rick Lakes, Ran Israel. Oh no, he did ER5. He found 5 errors at first glance. All right. Well, that was kind of sandwiched in there, so I didn't notice that. Maybe there's some others. All right. Let's see. Zavi Menor's got a read chat. I'll get to that here. Let's scroll down, and it must have been something prior. I don't know what that is. I don't know what read chat he's referring to. I don't know what he's trying to direct me to. Maybe he's just testing SpeakerBot. Sylvan Ball, Brian Lightfoot. Oh, one of the cows didn't produce milk today. It was an utter failure. If a parsley farmer gets sued, can they garnish his wages? All right, good. The third one. Doctor, there's a patient on line 1 that says he's invisible. Well, tell him I can't see him right now. Okay, you got 3 genuine chuckles. I would guess it was laughing out loud, but not a good belly laugh. Those were funny. They were funny. Hello, by the way. Hello, BTW, by the way, at Brian Lightfoot. And Rick, I think he knows this, but you'd have to put a space, I think, in front of the @ symbol. I don't think Brian would have seen that in orange that way. Mike Wojcik, hello, Ran Israel. If the errors I see in the thumbnail picture blur into one another, so I don't know how to count them. Yeah, they are difficult to count. Oh, there's Zavi said error 5. That's what he was trying to direct me to. I didn't spot it. Or if I did, somehow it didn't register. Darren Gilholm. Richard Rogers, if I'm missing anybody's name, it's not intentional. I don't mean to skip over anybody. Mike Wojcik, sometimes I repeat names because I'm not sure if I said them yet. Just saying hello to you. I'm multitasking on my 386. Darren, 5 only. I can't tell you what the authoritative number is. DVR engaged, that won't take long at 7 minutes into the show for Jim to catch up. See, I've got that over here. Oh, and also my speed test. I also did a speed test before actually starting the show. Normally I'm over 500 megabits download. So when I first saw that, I thought, oh, maybe I have a problem, but 23 upload is fine. That's what we care about. Oh, and since I restarted the computer, I don't have that thumbnail up and ready to go. I can get to it pretty quickly here. Here we go. And then I can make that bigger. Yeah, so I'm going to start over here on the left. So here, this guy looks pretty normal, left hand and a right hand. This guy right here, a little bit odd. There's a weird thing there, but that might be something visible between his thumb and forefinger that's on the other side. I don't know. A weird growth here and big chin. I don't know, but those could be, that could be him. Those are plausible. But then look here, his left arm, there goes the elbow out that way. And I think his left arm comes up here. But what is all this? Yikes. And then down here, we got this laptop looks normal. This laptop back here, where's the screen? Yeah, no screen there. Some kind of weird thing here. Looks like a magnetic charger for a phone, maybe. Some weird black strap going through here. It looks like it's a handle to that cup, maybe, or it's something that goes along out here. Don't know what that is. We got a little bit of poltergeist going on here with these Post-it notes flying in the air. A pencil caddy with no pencils in it, no pins or pencils visible anywhere on the desk, except this piece right here could be a writing instrument. Here we've got on this laptop, there's, I don't know, I don't think there's any way for me to stop that thing from popping up at the bottom while I'm down there, while my cursor is down there. Can I get that to go away? There, yeah. See this cup? It's sitting on the keyboard area. I got to turn my picture off. It's sitting on the keyboard area of that laptop. Well, that's not good form, but there's no keys on that laptop anyway, so I guess it's okay. This laptop back here looks like the lid is leaning. I can't decide if it's leaning away from us or leaning towards us. This cup right here, first I thought it was a reflection in the back of that laptop monitor, but I realized, no, it's not shiny enough for that. So this is a cup sitting on the surface. So that's probably legit. That looks okay. This computer back here is facing us. So I'm thinking it belongs to this guy or this guy, and they've got it turned around to face the rest of us. That looks believable as a keyboard there. And let's come out and look at this guy over here. Here's a left hand for somebody. This kind of a light blue colored shirt and a little bit of his nose up here to the right. So that's one person. And then next to him is this guy in the blue shirt. And this looks like his right hand coming out here. And there's maybe the thumb for the right hand, although it looks a little strange. And then right behind that, there's another finger or another thumb. Whose hand is that? And then there's this hand here. I think this is the right hand for this blue shirt. But then whose hand was this? I don't know. This guy looks like he's just pulled himself away from the hospital bed. He's had some lines coming out of him. His shirt is kind of weirdly deformed over here with what was supposed to be the back of his neck, but that's totally weird. And let's see, then this guy's right arm comes out this way and is behind that monitor or behind both of those monitors. So I guess that's plausible. Yeah, so just kind of weird AI stuff. I have multiple topics lined up for today, and I don't know how to go about deciding. If I come over here, let's see, engage with your audience, start a poll. Let's try this. Let's see. He says, look at center guy's fingers. Update too many errors. Update too many errors. I guess for the AI. AI, when I get pictures from them, there's always stuff wrong. Oh, Catherine Anna Hauserman, hello to you. I haven't seen you for a while. Nice to see you. Center guy's fingers. This guy right here, center guy, his fingers. You're seeing something wrong with his fingers. I don't quite. Oh, yeah, right there. Look, there's two fingers that, but they're joined together up here. So that's one appendage with two fingers. So 1, 2, 3, 4 fingers, except they're kind of merged together right here. Yeah. Okay, so the poll. Let's see. Doug's, I'll just call it Doug's blunder. As far as each of these are kind of long things to talk about. Doug's blunder, or Carrie versus Doug, and this refers to some comments that Carrie made 3 or 4 comments that are outstanding or that are waiting. And they'll show some differences between us. Carrie and I, we've acknowledged all along that we agree on a lot of things and we disagree on some things, and where the dividing line is between some and a lot, who knows? And so that's a thing. And then story of XP and Win 10 multi boot LIGHT lightning damage. This is an update from one of our viewers that I've got email from him. Is that too long? Oh, it's too long. No, that's not enough. I will just leave it there. And then the fourth option, I got to go remind myself what that one is. Carrie's comment, he replied to a comment from Jim and a comment from Greg M, and then he has one comment that's directly from him about the video of the day. And then I guess this is a PayPal scam, which is also an email from a regular participant. So you have a little bit of time there to vote what you want me to go for first. And I don't know if we're going to get, particularly the first two, Doug's blunder and the Carrie versus Doug. Both of those are probably going to take the longer amount of time between all of that stuff. Let's see what else we got here. I didn't keep count when I went through that. It was just, I was just inviting you to look and spot them. There was no points ever going to be awarded for whoever was right, however you would determine that. Guy centers fingers. Should have turned on the heat in the man cave before I left for lunch. 58 degrees. Yikes. Wait, what? What were all these ones for? Were you trying to say the first of the subjects? No, I gave you a poll. You got to go up and vote in the poll. I'm not sure what wait what is referring to. Have not a clue. Because I'm the clueless wonder. Clueless boy wonder. How about that? Let's see, what did I call today's show? Saturday PC Problem Solvers Live Tech Support Roundtable. That's the title going along with it. Now, I generally intend to not include the number and the day in the title. The strategy behind the titles and the thumbnails these days is to try to entice somebody who has not seen the show before to click. So the thumbnails are very different and the titles are different, so it doesn't look like the same show over and over and over. The way I used to do, see if that'll work. Oh, let's do a little channel status update because I haven't done that for a while. 2,698 subscribers, 28 in the last 28 days. So I got back up to where I was previously, where it's about one a day. And then coming down to, let's see, I want to get to members. I don't think there's been any new members recently. Oh yeah, there is. Charlie Purdy joined 0 days ago. Welcome, Charlie Purdy. Welcome aboard. And then prior to that was 8 days for Tom K, Yokohama Yak, which I think I remember Yokohama Yak from my Fortnite days. William Metzler, Eileen Novak, Steve Mercure, Jenny B, and we currently have 63 with maximum 15 days. I'm not sure. I don't think these days are necessarily accurate. They seem to jump in increments. I don't know if they update that daily count every day. The other thing I need to go pull up is sort of, there is an Amazon gift card waiting, sort of. Oh, let's see, December 31st. I already acknowledged and applied Tony's, but Bill's been sitting around here for some time. Bill is a fake $5 Amazon gift card. It was from myself, and I was testing something that Brian Lightfoot told me about, because I had previously said, if you want to send a gift card anonymously, you can do that by going to change your name on your Amazon account. And he said, Doug, excuse me, but there's an easier way to do that. So this $5 from me to me is basically, it's like the teenagers that are working at a fast food place. They put out a tip jar and then they seed it by putting in their own money to make it, to give you some social proof that other people are giving tips. So you ought to also. Yeah, don't get all upset on me if your teenagers are doing that. Let's see. So apply to the account, because what you can do is when you go to do an Amazon gift card, and let's see, here's e-gift, instant email, or text delivery. It just gives you an opportunity right in here to say your name. So you can change your name right here. It's easier than what I previously showed if you want to be anonymous, since some people don't like to be acknowledged by name. Then the other thing to look at is come over here to supers and give. Now, as I click through these things, part of the reason why I want to do it is so that as the channel grows down the road, I want to be able to come back and see where we were at. And that's also the big reason, the most significant reason in my mind for the memberships, so that later when the channel's a lot larger, I think it'll get there, that you can show that you've been around here since the beginning, supporting the show and believing it. So then super chats and super stickers. These are in, I think these are in order of recent cality. January 4th, January 3rd, January 1. Yeah. $10 from Ski Man, Martin Hogg $4.99, Tony Walla $1.99, Ken Stout $6.70. So Abdul Azim with $50. Yikes, wonderful. Thank you again. I guess the big ones show up in a brighter color quickly, right? $20 from Tim Sowell. So your gift is acknowledged in perpetuity. Thank you. All right. So that's all of that update stuff. Parker Morse, hello. I was there, Gandalf. I was there 3,000 years ago when he first right-clicked and chose properties. How are we doing on this poll? Oh, looks like Doug's blunder is the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. That's going to end the poll right there. Okay, so Doug's blunder. That's what you want to hear about. I made a mistake this week that cost money to my client and downtime and cost me money and cost me frustration and stress. And it was a stupid little mistake. And if I just hadn't made that mistake, things would be so much better right now. Now, reason I had contemplated whether I was willing to share this, and I came down on the side of yes, because it's human. It's a humanity thing, and it's something that happens, I believe, happens in every tech's life. And it has validity in in humanities sciences. Oh, I was trying to figure out how do you spell audible, because I wanted to show a book that I read in audio form. I do all my books in audio form because I can't, my eyes aren't, it'll give me a headache reading real books. So I do a lot of audiobooks. And in a past life that I've talked about from time to time with aviation, I was a volunteer safety rep for the FAA, came with an ID card and came with annual training and whole 9 yards. It was a significant position. But we dealt with this subject a lot in aviation because this is a problem that pilots come across. And you might be aware of the airline pilots when they do their checklist. It's a call out and respond where a person reads the checklist and the other person says, check. Why do they do that? They do that for this very reason that I'm about to address during this segment. That is somewhat embarrassing. I am going to go to my library, and it's called, let's see, Fast and Slow Thinking, I think it was. Yeah, Thinking Fast and Slow. They do a really good job of explaining the science behind this, or humanities, or sociology, whatever you want to call it. One of the things that they tell in there, as they're making the point about fast and slow thinking, is that if you are walking along the sidewalk with a companion and you ask them to perform a moderately complex math problem in their head, a problem that they are capable of doing, but it's a little bit challenging. And if you don't give them any prompting, they will stop walking to think it through, because the mind cannot handle even a fairly automated task when it needs to focus on a problem. Now, in the case of pilots, when a pilot gets very routine or distracted or has something else on their mind, it's very easy to miss a very simple thing. And pilots have been interviewed after they crash, and the inspector will say, well, why did you do such and such? And they say, I knew better. I can't explain why I did that. It is a natural, normal human thing to make a blunder and do something where afterwards you'd say, what was I thinking? I knew better. I knew not to do that. Well, that's what happened. And this is particularly more susceptible when you are maybe sleep deprived, or in my case, in this situation, dealing with multiple days of migraine headaches and working after hours under the stressful environment of a computer is down and you're trying to get it back up. And the mistake that I made was so very, very simple and avoidable. I made the mistake. Now, actually, at the time that I made the mistake, I feel like I had in the back of my head that there was this other piece that I could check, but I justified to myself that no, I would rather do a wipe and reload and full reinstall on this particular computer because this computer was a dedicated single task computer. No single person used it as their work machine. It provided the surveillance camera. It was a surveillance camera server for, recording the cameras. And it had the people who set that up, the security company who set that up, they tweaked it so that it would not get updates. And I knew that it was obsolete on Windows 10. I think it was like a 1908, version 1908 from 2019, maybe 1809, I'm not sure. So I felt that I wanted to rebuild it from scratch. So I pursued that, and I was pretty sure that I had media on hand for doing that. And yes, indeed, I did have the installation media. What I did not have was the correct license for it. And what I did not have is the knowledge of how to respond to some of the prompts that come up during the setup. So I was not successful at getting the cameras back up and running. So it's been down for multiple days. And what's happened is I've made an appointment for the company to come out and reinstall their software and get it up and running. I have not told you yet what the simple mistake was that I made. I'm keeping you on pins and needles. Let's see if you've had any reactions so far. Shirley, I'm not Roger. Stop calling me Shirley. It looks like I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. Optane. It wasn't a memory thing. Ken uses the word Optane to dig at my memory. It was a fatigue thing. What I should have done at the time is I should have said, let me step away from this, get a good night's sleep. This is about, 6:30 p.m. at night after I had a pretty long day and I was dealing with headache issues. And yeah, I just should have stepped away and thought it through. Okay. So here's what was going on. Let's see what's going on here. Darren, were you trying to answer which ones you were voting for? I don't know what that was about. Yeah, people don't understand when I put in a poll. Respond to the poll. Oh well, anyway, moving on. The client called me and said, yeah. So I'm gonna present the symptoms to you as it was reported to me. I'm pretty sure you're gonna come up with the right answer. Excuse me, before I tell you where I went wrong, I gotta think this through right, so I present it right. Yeah, they called me and said the security cameras have not come back up after the building experienced a power outage. And he's gone over to the surveillance server and turned it on. The BIOS on that computer had been configured at that time to not automatically turn on after power is restored. So it was off, so he turned it on. There's no monitor, no keyboard, no mouse attached to that computer. He said the light's on. It did some flickering. As far as he could tell, it looked like it was on. I tried to connect to that computer remotely, and it told me that it was offline. So I figured, okay, I'll go out to the office with my portable monitor and keyboard and mouse and connect to it It was kind of in a little difficult thing. It was on a shelf mounted up against the wall. It was a little difficult to get around to the back of it. So I did that. I see that, Brian. So I get out there. I'm kind of slowing the story down a little bit to see if when somebody comes up with what they think is going on. Are these cameras and PC going through a network switch? Yes. And the network switch was still powered on. It's the same network switch that all the computers talked to each other, and they were all working fine. CMOS reset and F1 required to continue. Very close. Did they power cycle the switch? I do not think they did, but they validated that the switch, the lights were flickering on the switch, and all the other computers were able to access the internet and talk to each other properly. When I connected the monitor and the keyboard, I did not have a message for press F1 to continue. It was not a keyboard present error. Anybody got another error message that might be seen at that point? Kind of related to this. Maybe exactly related, depending upon what Rand is thinking about that. Date wrong is a reasonable thing to consider. That was not the case. Default setting loaded. Yeah. I'd say that's fair to say. Now, how does that happen? Power went out. Computers turned on after the power comes back. Bad CMOS battery. Yes. What happened when it went to default BIOS settings that caused the computer to fail to boot? Because I think you can figure this. Boot order, that wasn't it, but even if it was boot order, there was only one boot drive. There were two drives in the computer. One's bootable, the other is for the data, for storing the videos. It's about 4 terabytes for storing the videos. The C drive was separate. I think you guys can get this without me telling it. Imagine what would go wrong if a BIOS reverts to default settings that would prevent the computer from booting. These things were reasonable things, but they weren't what the problem was this time. BIOS password, no, that wasn't it. I think you'll know, you can figure this. If I tell it to you, you're going to know it right off the bat. I'd say both of these are reasonably on point. It was not secure boot. IDE/HCI, reasonable. All of these are reasonably close. Yeah, because this is compatibility, services, mode, whatever, not UEFI. That would be it exactly. It was trying to boot that hard drive in legacy mode. The BIOS on this computer had legacy or UEFI. Some BIOS, like Big Beast build, can be in can support both. This computer, it's either legacy or UEFI. The motherboard has an NVMe slot, M.2 NVMe, and it has an NVMe drive in it. But the BIOS reverted to what apparently was its default settings, which is legacy. All I needed to do was go into BIOS and change it from legacy to UEFI. And I did not think of that at the time. I was feeling stressed. I had this idea that instead of doing a Doug thing and take more effort and time on trying to make this bootable, I'm just going to go ahead and wipe and reload and start out from scratch, because I kind of wanted that for that computer anyway. And so you know what, so many times I've stretched this out and gone over and above the amount of time. I'm just going to cut it right here and jump, cut and run. And it bit me in the butt. And Jim, yeah, there might be a BIOS update to change the default. I did not get around to looking into that. The other downside is, since this computer was provided by the security company, I've never really felt direct ownership of it as a technician. But then recently the client has been more and more wanting me to deal with those computers. It would have been so easy to have image backups to that second drive on there and then just restore that. Murphy was working overtime. Yeah, what is it when you don't do your normal full procedures? That's when it's gonna bite you. When I stopped doing my checklist for starting the show, I was randomly, not consistently, doing some elements for my checklist. And the one time that I don't check my microphone, I found that it was muted. I've got this button that I press on my Stream Deck that automatically unmutes it. So no matter whether it was unmuted or not, it would automatically unmute it. And the one time that I neglected to push that button, the microphone was muted. I'm never going to live that octane down with Ken Stout. He is so focused on that. Oh, Brian to Wintermute, they're in Zoom listening. It's like that. Who's is it Siskel and Ebert? I'm not sure. Were there two guys sitting in a dark theater poking fun at the movie? I don't think that's Siskel and Ebert. I think that's some other show that I never got into very much. Somebody's going to tell me what that show was, because I know there's people around here that like that kind of silly humor. Trying shortcuts and assumations. Wooldorf and Statler? Is that the Statler brothers? Chris Garrett says, I'm here, Doug. You push my buttons. I had no idea who that is from the Muppets. Oh, that might be. Yeah, I think so. Wouldn't they make fun of movie clips? That might be who I was thinking of. Mystery Science 3000. Muppets in the balcony. Are there Muppets in your balcony? Call Fresno Pest Control. We will solve your Muppets in the balcony problem. Yeah, whatever. Yeah. I'll probably watch that later or watch part of it. Watch it during a meal or something. So what else is there to say about that experience? I wanted to make the point about how it is easy to miss doing something where you knew better. I heard that quoted and from people directly in life where they've made some kind of just absent-minded mistake, and afterwards you kick yourself, say, I knew better than that. And this is one where I knew better, and I think it was actually there in the back of my mind. I was just too long of a day and stressed and talking myself into the direction that was going to be a decision and move on. I just felt like if I take this further, I was going to. Now, how did I discover it? Even when I discovered it, I missed the opportunity. I think I could have backed out of it at that point. When I discovered it, when I realized what I missed, what had happened is I discovered the problem at the client's office. I took the machine out of there, brought it back here. So mid-evening, after a long, frustrating day, I'm working with it here, and I go to install Windows 10 Fresh, boot it to my thumb drive. It boots into installation, and I went in and deleted the partitions for drive 1. Drive 0, since it was SATA, it shows as drive 0, the data drive that has the videos. An NVMe drive will show up after drive 0. I think NEM.2 will be after a SATA drive. So I was very careful. My mind was focused on being careful that I was deleting the right partitions. So I deleted those partitions, and then I tried to install on the unpartitioned space, and I get this message saying Windows cannot be installed on this partition. And that's when I started realizing, and eventually realized, oh, I got to some point where it says that there is a MBR partition on, not an MBR partition on that drive, because it was a GPT partition on that drive, since it was UEFI. I think it was somehow I saw that the thumb drive had booted on an MBR partition. I'm not sure how that actually came to be, but anyway, I realized, oh no, that's all it is. And the other thing is, I had already been through BIOS. I had gone in there looking for something wrong, and in hindsight, I saw that it was set to legacy, and it did not dawn on me. Horrendously embarrassing mistake on my part. I hope you will appreciate my motivation for being open and honest and vulnerable about this. I won't be surprised that there's some very mean people later in the comments chastising me for that. I'll bet those are people who have never really worked in the field under the reality of stress and pressures that exist. To any technician who has lived in that reality and is not in an environment where they're doing the same thing day after day after day. A lot of tech environments, they're doing the same thing day after day after. I'm way out of those boundaries. Phil Stodd, Einstein's theory of reality. R equals shit happens, but what is the R? Reality. I guess the R is reality. Brian, sometimes I temporarily disconnect all other drives except for the target drive. And that would have been a reasonable thing to do there. However, still, for picking which partitions, I feel pretty comfortable about that because I knew the size discrepancy between these. And I know pretty clearly drive 0 and drive 1, those are physically separate drives. So I was very comfortable with that. And we've heard Carrie many times advise people to disconnect all other drives. And I would agree with that for a YouTube video broadcasting to a general audience. You never know who it is. I don't hold myself to that because frankly, I'm very comfortable with that. Now, I was about to say, frankly, I know better. In the context of today's show, is that really something that I can claim that I know better? So I started to say about my motivations for sharing this is because for those technicians who maybe don't have as many years under their belt, as many frustrations under their belt, I want you to know you're not alone when you realize that. And we realize what a simple mistake that you made. I guess if you had imaged the Windows drive before wipe and restall, you could have reverted back after the moment hit you, after the home moment hit you. Yeah, and now there's another opportunity for that also. And I discussed this about the image backups later and why I didn't have those. It's basically because this was not really my computer to manage. But now it has been I've kind of adopted it and inherited it. And I've talked to the vertical market vendor, and they're fine with me doing this work. Let me finish my thought here. Yeah, the other, I have two other facilities that are under the same umbrella ownership company that have the same system. And they're all installed at the same time. I could take a backup image from one of the other computers and restore it to this computer. I would deal with the SID to give it a unique, to fix the SID so it's not a copy. And I have the correct license file for the subject office, the one that I'm talking about. When I first tried to reinstall the software, I used the license from the other, the sister office, because I didn't yet have the correct license. I have since acquired that from the vertical market vendor. So I could have gone that route, and I still could go that route, but I'm choosing not to because I want to have their technician come out and install it correctly, and I will be there to observe and take notes so that I can deal with it in the future, rather than trying to do this backdoor thing. Another reason why I've decided not to do the backdoor thing by taking an image from the other server and restoring to this one is I don't know for certain that it's going to work. And I have several other things on my must-do list for this weekend. And it was just going to be too much stress. So I've already made, on Friday, I scheduled the appointment, and I asked them, listen, if I get this fixed over the weekend, are you going to be upset if I cancel that appointment on Monday? And said, no, that's okay. Just call us early morning. And then he wound up saying, no, just send me an email over the weekend. I like this guy very much. We're not going to go out, okay? Just stop that. Well, one reason why the client wanted me to take over service is because this company will not do any remote support. They do very, very little over the phone. The only thing they will do is schedule a technician for some number of days in advance, and they have a minimum 2-hour charge. So if they come in and do half an hour work, fix the problem, they're going to charge 2 hours. Well, my client knows me that I charge them for the time used, and so they want me to do everything. This was going to be $290 minimum for them to come in and deal with it, and which at this point is fine. It's completely palatable. I've spent way more than that. I will be softening my bill to my client. You've heard me say that I charge for my time, but this is an area where I will soften it. And it's a cost of me being willing to do everything for my clients. This weekend, I'm also doing phone systems, VoIP phone system reconfigurations for an office. I'm also doing a time clock rebuild for a client's office. So that's I am not only computers, but mostly stuff. Yeah, that's a STUFT, stuff. The T is silent. Sometimes I temporarily just, yeah, I guess I already said that. Jim says, I still miss things from time to time, and I've been dealing with PC hardware since 1985. Yeah, and also when ordering something, I'll miss something. And Kerry Holzman is fessed up when he's missed something. And I think Jim has also. Rick Lakes, I've had my fair share of screw-ups. I'm usually working on so many different brands and technologies of equipment. Some are internal combustion power and others are electric powered from Phil Stodd. I also want people to feel okay about fessing up about something they did by mistake around here. So, Anytime you fess up about something you did and want to share the story, I would love for you to share the story, and you will find a very warm welcome. Brian DeJim, I agree. Of all the things I've lost, I miss my mind the most. Ozzy quote. Oh, was that from Ozzy? Chris, I've used partition software before and deleted the wrong partitions. Also, I used diskpart before and cleaned the wrong drive. I also, oh yeah, I did a clean operation on this one. So when I got to the point of deleting those partitions, it was after that that I discovered what was wrong. There are utilities to undelete deleted partitions. That can be successful if you haven't done anything else. And I think they can be rather quickly successful. If that had occurred to me at the time, and I think it did, I think my attitude at the point was, I want to do a fresh install on this anyway, because it was obsolete for Windows updates, and that was giving us some other complications. I just didn't know how complicated it was going to get to reinstall their software. And I actually made pretty darn good progress with that. I got it reinstalled, and I did it a few times trying some variations, but there's some variations about encryption settings on and mobile encryption settings and a couple other options that could be done different ways. And there's a place for a password for a particular set of cameras. I actually got access to a significant number of cameras, but they just didn't display an image. And in the past, I have come across that problem before and resolved it. So I felt that I could. I had the documentation for their system, and I just wound up deciding, no, yeah, I think it's wiser at this point. Just call them in, put my tail between my legs, and take the approach that I know is going to be successful. What I'm going to do is uninstall, using Revo uninstaller, uninstall the program. So I get all the registry settings out. It's important because if I reinstall, if I leave those registry settings in there, the installation runs differently. I have already proven that. It won't even scan for the cameras if it sees that there's already registry entries and files present. So I'll just remove it all. They'll just do a fresh install. I'll see what options they select. I'll capture any information that I need to have for future reference. And all will be well. My client is not upset. They're very good natured. I always tell the office staff that I'm willing to take full responsibility for other people's errors as long as it is a terminating offense. I am still working there. That I'm willing to take full responsibility for other people's errors. Yeah, I can't say that the other vendor wasn't at error, except that there's no backups. Now, did they provide these passwords that are needed to my client? It's possible that they did. There's been multiple changes of personnel in this office. I am the longest surviving person in this company. I don't think there's a single person working at this office that was there when I started providing their computer support. So cold here. Time is set in, but a few weeks will be in the 70. Went right over his head to Phil Stodd. This, I think I'm still working there. See, I was thinking what this meant, terminating offense, is that they would terminate the other people. That's what I took that to mean. I always tell the office staff that I'm willing to take full responsibility for other people's errors as long as it is a terminating offense. The other people's errors, I think you're saying that you'll accept responsibility as long as the other people got terminated. And then he says, I am still working there. So it's his errors. Yeah, I'm not sure that's worded the right way if I was supposed to understand what that meant. Terminate me. Yeah, so he's saying that it was your errors. I'm willing to take full responsibility for other people's errors. But if it was the other people that made the errors, why would you be terminated? I think you're claiming that you are the other people. That's just worded weird. I understand that as one of the options, that you would be the one being terminated, but it doesn't fit this statement. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. I think it's poorly worded. Yeah, you can fire me. See what my boss has to say about that. Earth humor? All right, that means something to you. All right, I guess now we go to Kerry Holzman, right? Oh, I do have a redirect set up. He has a show. It's starting right now. Yeah, starting in a minute and a half. Yeah. If you want to go watch his show live, I do not take offense to that. I will even give you a link for that in chat. I'd love it if you came back and watched the rest of my show later, or if you want to watch my show and then go to his show afterwards and go back in DVR mode. The reason why I'm backspacing all over that is that that's all, what do they call it? Referral code? That's not what they call it. I know it's not. Tracking information after the question mark says where you got that from. Why would I mind giving that? I don't. Hello, John Williams. No problem being late. I was late too. Nobody got mad at me very much. I was 2 minutes late. Rick Lakes, your package is out for delivery sometime soon. Or delivery today sometime. All right, so then let's go on to the second choice in that poll. Oops, nope, that's not the poll. Well, I know it was the Kerry Holzman's comments. It occurred to me that this is kind of a reasonable substitute for here. This is kind of a reasonable substitute for like the Tech Vets show that he did with Mike Smith. It's kind of inconvenient for us to be on camera and talk to each other, and we've talked about doing that, but we got to coordinate, and it's just a little bit of a nuisance. So anyway, he's apparently comfortable with typing in comments. I don't like doing that. I just don't like to type. And that's part of why I fell in so easily to responding during live shows to people's comments, because I just don't want to type. And also written responses, I find so often I've been misunderstood. And so I'll put in so much time and effort into a 3-sentence reply thinking, how might this be misunderstood? And I'll try 6 ways to Sunday to edit it and try to make it more clear and obvious so I'm not mistaken. Because that just bugs me so much when I'm misunderstood. And then, oh yeah, there's another thing. In yesterday's show, I put in an @ to somebody in that show. Who was that? Let's come over here. And I told them that you should have a mention currently, and I couldn't remember where to show that, and it was so obvious. So let's see. Oh yeah, if I go into this video and go into here and see who that was, because I don't remember. Wasn't it in? No, it wasn't in there. It was regarding that follow-up video. This follow-up. I think that's where it was. Yeah, it was for that item number 12. Recommended by Eric. Yeah, I was letting Eric know that you should have an @ mention. It's so easy, so simple. I get there all, it's right here. I show this almost every show. I don't come into comments every show, but a lot of them, it's right here, mentions. So when he goes to his mentions page, he should see @ mentions in here. And that helps the YouTube algorithm for a channel to have @ mentions, where in the video description, see all these are from the video description. Dennis Thompson was very regular about that back in our Fortnite days. Nobody else has mentioned me in their video description. You have to do it with the @ sign and whatever the channel handle is. But anyway, Eric should have a mention showing up in here. And anytime I put a mention like that in a description, you should see it there. Now, there might be other places. Since this says mention you in video description, that implies there's other places that if somebody mentions you, it'll show up. See, it shows up for me as that @ LWTDB because that is my channel handle. All right, let's get on. Oh, no, right here. Tell you what, am I caught up in chat reasonably? Let's see. That's for Carrie's show. Don't press the red button yet. Package Tony, 9 stops away. Yeah, no, I don't know what that was talking about. So let's see. This one was from 13 hours ago. Carrie was responding to yesterday's show. And then there was Jim's comment from, let's see, that was also yesterday's show. And this was yesterday's show, Greg M's comment. So we'll take the oldest of all of these because I haven't read Greg M's comment either. And I referred to this segment as Carrie versus Doug in that poll, so that I'll be responding. See, this one is 2 paragraphs from Carrie. Thank you, Carrie. Wow. Yeah, I just don't like doing that myself. From Greg M. After a day of research regarding B-Link, I called the client and warned them that these mini PCs are coming from and being sold by Chinese sellers on Amazon or directly from China. Once the Amazon 30-day return period expires, they would likely have to buy another unit if the unit has issues. The only things on these mini PCs that are replaceable are the memory, the off-brand M.2 drive, and possibly the external power supply if it's not built into the mini PC. On that point, I have one of these B-Link PCs that does not have an external power supply. It connects directly into an AC power cord, which has the advantage of not having that power brick. So it's a little bit simpler cabling. But the disadvantage that if the power supply goes out, you're not going to replace the power supply that's in the box, whereas you could replace the power brick and cable. The business client has been burned before with other items they have purchased only to find out the warranty was useless. They have decided not to go the mini PC route. I can certainly see where they're coming from. Now, I'm not really concerned that the manufacturer warranty is worthless because at this price point of these mini PCs, at least the price that the N95s and N100s around $200 price point, it would cost them more for me to do a warranty return in charging my time, because it's not my computer. It's not I don't warranty them. I know some of you feel a responsibility to warranty computers that you've recommended. I don't think it's the right way to go. I disagree with that vehemently. Okay, so Carrie's response. It's rare to see a mini PC go bad. Agreed. If it will last 30 days, it will likely last many years. Now, one thing that's part of my procedure now is when a computer comes in, I will very early in the process check all the ports because I have had bad HDMI port on one of them. And I think I had a flaky USB port on one of them. So I will test the ports before I do any configurations. I'll do the out of box, so it's got a Windows system on it, and then check the ports. With factory installed parts, there is no user error in upgrades, nor are upgrades typically necessary in today's modern storage, RAM, and CPU excessive defaults, in my opinion. Now, I struggled a little bit over this excessive defaults. I think he's saying the default amount of storage, amount of RAM, and CPU are excessive. I haven't come across. Well, I buy the price point that has the features that I want. So I'm not sure I quite understand that piece correctly. Does not need to be corrected, but manufacturing and product convergence has created much more reliable products that simply last longer without constant fussing and upgrading that computer used to require. I didn't really come. I have upgraded memory and I have upgraded from spinning drives to SSDs, but that was rather than replace. Those computers were mainly purchased when like 8 gigabytes was sufficient for Windows 10 in the earlier days of Windows 10. And when SSDs were just too expensive. So that's about all the upgrades that I was doing on computers. Computers were also 4 times more money 20 years ago. Fair point. And that investment was significant for most users. Yes, agreed. Today, you can get more power, more storage, and more RAM in a device that costs 75% less and is more reliable than the stuff made years ago. Agreed. Warranty is less important when the investment is less. Yes. Even when, well, no, I'm going to let that stand with full agreement. Okay, here's the exception I'll take to that. I have had times where, for instance, a Dell computer, under warranty, power supply goes bad. Well, because of the time that it takes to get a replacement power supply under warranty, and because of the downtime for the client, I would often just buy a power supply, install it, and we don't try to do anything with the warranty. Hello, Wendy. Almost forgot your name. A little bit embarrassing. Don't forget a girl's name. Don't forget your wife's name. Don't forget your girlfriend's name. Where was I? What was I talking about? I got no freaking idea. Oh, warranty. Dell computer. And there's Princess. Yeah, just buy a part and install it rather than calling or doing a warranty. Even I won't send the power supply back and get a replacement. It's just not enough money. Ran Israel, his read chat was, she's called Stormy. Yeah, it's !S to call her up. And that was Stormy because the storm cloud's over. When it's just the girl without the storm clouds, I call her Wendy. And I think somehow when I originally brought her in, somehow that name was suggested for her. I don't know why. I don't know why that has stuck with me. And I guess when I call her Wendy, some people have tried to do !W, and that doesn't work. We had a vote. Let's see, Brian Turan. We had a vote. I think the name Wendy won. It might have. No, Wendy wasn't another one. The other name was Jenny for the AI that would stand here in my place, in my stead for various things. Here's a story to consider. Okay, now here, this part, I'm not going to read through all this. This is a paste, and this is a copy and paste from the old story. Now I'm curious. Put a 1 in chat if you know this story already. Put a 0 in chat if you don't know this story. It's a story about a circus elephant. Train the elephant to not move because a massive stake. Once you take the stake away, the elephant will stay there and not move away. This is a copy and paste. I'm not going to read through it. And I think most people know that story. I bristle at. I know Carrie likes to use analogies. I bristle at particularly this analogy. But anyway, basically what he's saying is don't be locked into the old ways just because that's the way it used to be done. I don't think it needs this many words to accomplish it. Now, another thing, there's one of the versions of this story. Let's see, I don't think this one says anything about the fire. Fight, do everything, as much as can't break free. A massive mature, thin rope snugly to the ground. Beast could easily go a different way. Give his leg a shin. Long ago, the baby knew couldn't do it. Yeah, there's a version of this story that says the circus tent burned down and the elephants died in the fire because they didn't know that they could pull away. They thought they were there so much. And that story is so full of fallacies and BS. Elephants are very smart, very intelligent. They could, if they're sufficiently motivated or scared, they will move away. And basically what you have here is just training an animal. You can train a dog to sit down in front of the store while you go inside, and they won't do anything if you have sufficiently trained them. Any animal, if you sufficiently train them, they will do what you train them to do because they know that's what you want them to do, not because they think they can't. So I bristle on that. I don't like that analogy used there. So that's me. Carrie likes it using analogies. That's fine. Okay, finished with that one. Let's see. This is Greg M. replying to Carrie. How many of these mini PCs have you installed amongst your business clients, and what is the average age of them? 24/7, 365 days. Here's a piece that I haven't mentioned, maybe never. I'm not sure. I installed mini PCs probably 10 years ago. The mini PCs that we're dealing with now, that's not really all that new of a thing. They've been around for a long, long time. I've installed them on the back of monitors, I think going up to, I'm going to guess it was around 10 years ago. But those were Dell mini PCs and Lenovo mini PCs, and I think HP, the major names. The difference that we have now is these off-brand, not major known brand names that are so not, and it's not just the off-brand that makes them cheaper, but for me, what I'm doing is the N95s and N100s. In the past, I passed on Celeron processors. I thought they were too low end, and I think they were in the past. But with the generation that we're at now with CPUs, I think these lower end processors are just fine. It's not just me thinking that. It's what my clients are telling me. I've had them installed in clients' offices, I think since about March. I started doing that, and I've not had one complaint. I've had all of them when I asked them. They're very pleased with them. I think yesterday I started to tell the story about two exceptions about getting new computers. One is clients complaining about being told that they have to replace all their computers in 1 year. It's not that they're worried about replacing old computers. It's having to do all of them in 1 year. And the other is the one client who liked her taskbar on the right side. I said, sorry, it's not available in Windows 11. I didn't say it's not natively in available because I don't like them using third-party applications to fix that. But that's the only complaint about Windows 11. Centered taskbar, not an issue. Nobody cares. Not at all. I always give them an orientation about how to get to the shutdown because that's different. Click on the Windows button, and it's not on the left, it's over on the right. Click the power and then restart or shut down. Yes, you have to explain that to normals. Let's see. Okay, so then another response from Carrie. Oh, 58 minutes ago. I haven't even seen this one. I'll come and see that read chat before I start on that. Those new mini PC pure Chinese design, creation, and destruction. No, that says construction. Sorry. Yeah. Well, the Dell computers and HP computers, they have a lot of components from various different countries. I imagine including China and Taiwan and I don't know, Vietnam, so on. These new mini PCs, pure Chinese. Well, you can get Lenovo. In fact, this last recent client that I was working with for the inexpensive laptops, I found a Lenovo laptop, N100 or N95, I'm not sure which it was, about $350. That's absolutely competitive with these off-brand, it seems to be a thing to call them Chinese, but I think they're from other places besides Chinese. I don't think Chinese has a lock on the inexpensive equipment. All right. Lawn Dog, I'm not even going to try to understand what you've been saying there. I have a CyberGeek mini PC N95, works just fine, 4 cores. Now the reason these I think these lower CPUs, I do like the 16 gigabytes. I don't want to do 8 gigabytes. Western Digital 250 gigabyte, rather be the 512 area, but yeah, they work fine. And the reason why I used to shun the Celerons, but now I'm okay with the low-end processors for Windows 11 because the normal end user has not gotten any more sophisticated in what they're doing than they were 10 years ago. For the normal office worker, it is still interactions with websites, email, typing documents, maybe Excel worksheets, Outlook. They're just not very demanding at all. And in fact, some of them have become more low-end tolerant because they're using web-based applications. And those web-based applications are always slower than a locally installed program. And a faster CPU is not going to help that web-based program at all. Not at all. So the lower end CPUs are fine. Well more than adequate. Lenovo is pure Chinese. That's fine. But Lenovo has a much longer life brand to it. So they have more brand name, more likelihood that they're going to stand behind whatever warranty they offer. Where the component parts come from is so totally irrelevant. And yeah, I was buying those products when they were still called IBM. John Williams, this mini PC was from Kerry Holzman. Oh, he actually acquired one of the PCs that Kerry did a review on, probably. All right, continuing. Having conversation between me and Kerry Holzman. Let's see. Oh, here. Oh, Kerry's responding to Greg. Currently, we have about 8 of them at various client offices running 24/7 for the last 4 years. No 2 are the same brand. Interesting. None have required any repair, as expected. The oldest is 6th gen Intel NUC that we will need to replace this summer since it's over 10 years old and not Windows 11 compliant. The original Nook I first reviewed on my channel in April 2013. I've never done any of the Nooks. 12 years ago, works perfectly fine today. No repairs or upgrades were ever done. Several annual follow-up videos were made demonstrating proof to the audience how it has held up. That's awesome. Totally as I would have expected. I did not know that, let's see, Carrie's had them at operational in offices for the last 4 years. Now, as mentioned, I have had many computers operational in offices. I think, I want to say 10 years ago. I don't know. I wonder if I can pull that up quickly. I don't know if I can think of the specific offices that I've installed them, but I know one of them for sure. But I know also that this was not the first office I installed them in. And back then, I don't think I was doing my checklist setups. Yeah, I just know those are significantly not the oldest. There she is. Stormy because she's got the storm clouds. That would be a more appropriate way to. Now it's random. When you do that exclamation mark S, it's randomly chosen by StreamerBot which one you're going to get. You never know what you're going to get. Where can I get that? I don't think I'm going to. That's an interesting question, though. How long ago? I had many PCs myself. On this desk, I had like 3 or 4 of them mounted on the back. Each was used for a different purpose. Those were Lenovo's. I bought those used. I think I might have bought those from, what is that real cheap online retail outlet that apparently is available through Amazon now too. Carrie's mentioned it a few times, buying things from there too. It's like, I think it's like 4 letters long, maybe 5. So I bought a few of them and just tried that out. Not Chewy, not Newegg. It's not specifically a computer. It's not eBay. It was, yeah, I don't know. I'm responding to people's guesses. Not Temu, but similar little ring to it. All right, I'm gonna moving on. Did I get through all of this? Yeah, I did. And now the Eric, was it Eric or Greg, who was talking to a client about the mini PCs? Well, I just read that from him, didn't I? Oh yeah, it's in this comment here. Yeah, this one about B-Link. Burned before about it. You can do mini PCs. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If you're attracted to mini PCs, you can buy them from Dell. You can buy them from Lenovo. I think you can buy them from HP. You can buy from well-known names that stand behind their warranties. So don't throw out the baby, which is mini PCs, with the bathwater. The bathwater would be the off-name brands that we can't count on them to stand behind the warranty. You're going to pay more for the ones that are more reliable warranty coverage. Frosty, not Mealy, not AliExpress for Dan. Woot, that's it. Greg M got it. Woot. That's it. One single syllable. Woot. There's the winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. It was Woot. I've bought computers from, and I was pretty much always quite happy with them. Very cheap. Buy things very, 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 very cheap. Value. It was the value purchase. Greg says Amazon owns Woot. How long has that been the case? Because when I was buying from Woot, I had no idea that Amazon was involved with them. I don't think they were involved. I don't think they owned Woot back then. Asus took over Nukes from Intel, according to Rand. All right, let's move on to some more Doug V. Carey. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and seems apparent that I don't have to do timestamps. Oh, I think it was yesterday that I said I was going to do timestamps for the ones I felt like I had so much on my back at that point. I just wound up clicking them away without doing timestamps. Okay, so now here are the most recent or more recent. I don't know if there's more that have come in. Oh, I'm not even showing this. Jim KJ3N. Once your computers are 10 years old, you need to replace them. I disagree. I don't like putting such a hard, fast number on them, regardless of the requirements of Windows 11. Now, in that, I'd say anywhere from 5 to 10 years old, they ought to be considered for replacement rather than repair, depending upon other circumstances. I don't like putting a flat number on it like that. I just squirm at that. I've heard other YouTubers say 4 years should replace it. Now, some companies, like I think Gary Weisenberger's company, I think they replace like every 2 years, depending upon your strategies, the financial solvency of the company, the parameters of the head of the IT department. Any entity could put different numbers on that. I squirm at putting that number on it. It's a bit annoying that PCs that are only 7 years old, meaning 2018, have to be replaced. Kerry gives a little rebuttal to that. When Windows 10 expires October 2025, Windows 10 will be over 10 years old. Most computers since 2016 are Windows 11 compatible. So Jim was saying 2018, Kerry's saying 2016. Unless you bought a first generation AMD Ryzen, but this is to be expected with any first generation product. If 2016 is the first year of ownership, then you have a 10-year-old computer in 2025. 2016 is year 1, 2017 is year 2, 2025 is year 10, and you're still compatible with Windows 11 requirements with the exception of first gen Ryzen CPUs. Try that with an Apple computer at twice the price and see how many years it remains supported by Apple in comparison. I don't have any further comment on this. It's just, I deal with my clients on the computers that they have and what needs to be done. This 2-year-old argument, whether it's 2018 or 2016, I don't have a dog in that race. Moving along. Vosin Jonk, cheers. Thumbs up and heart. I guess he was liking that Gmail reverse conversation order video. I'll tell you what, with the things on my list, I'm not even going to do a timestamp. The reason why I do those timestamps when I'm feeling more capacity to do them is I'm hoping that this person will become somebody who watches regular by giving them a timestamp to let them know that we're here 6 days a week, off and on. More often than not. 13 hours ago. Yeah, this was from yesterday's video. With regards to users wanting to avoid Windows 11, I agree with them. If the customer does not want Windows 11, there are many other options from Apple, Android, Linux that I believe they will be much happier with. Well, not if they need their Windows software. I encourage them to pursue that. Remind them that I am a Windows-only technician and that I cannot assist them in this transition. If I was a butcher and a customer told me they don't want to eat meat, I would point them to the produce section. All right. That's a little bit hard stance. I don't know if Carrie takes actually that tone with clients who want to avoid Windows 11. I think there's some, I don't know, maybe there's some sarcasm in there. I don't have, but the thing is, I haven't had any clients, none, zero, that says they don't want Windows 11. Usually it's they have no awareness that Windows 11 is a thing. The thing that they squirm about is when I tell them we have to replace all your computers this year. Now, a fair rebuttal to me on that would be, Doug, that wouldn't be the case if you were replacing the computers when they were aging out, when just by a number of years. The computers still work fine, and you would have replaced them with a Windows 11 compliant computer. Then they wouldn't have to do a whole office worth of computers. You're right. That's totally valid. If I had started doing that when Windows 11 became a thing, the computers that they were buying at that time would have cost more than they're going to cost this year. That's my rebuttal. So, yeah, pay more earlier so that you don't have as much to pay in a single year. Fair. But the specific clients that are involved, it's going to be okay. And if I was replacing the computers a few years ago when Windows 11 first came around, and their board of directors or whoever the authorities were asked, why did we spend this money this year? Well, because Doug said we had to. Why? Well, because in 4 years, that old computer is not going to be legitimate anymore. It's not going to be supported, not going to get security updates. All right, well, why did we do it now instead of then? That puts my client in the position of having to defend me. At this point, time's up. We're out of time. It's okay. It's doable. It's going to be a busy year for me, but it's doable. And it's much easier for them to be able to defend. Now, I have, as computers have been showing problems ever since Windows 11 came around, showing problems, I have been recommending that we ought to just replace this with a Windows 11 computer, because we're going to have to replace this computer anyway. If you spend money on me to fix this, deal with this computer's issues now, then that's only going to last for X number of years. So I recommend that we replace this instead of fix it. Usually they went along with that. Not always, but usually. Yeah, I don't have anybody wanting to avoid Windows 11. All that they're uncomfortable with is having to do them all in 1 year. And when I explain the reason for that, they're okay. It is not something they're really upset about or angry about, or why didn't we do it different? Why didn't we? Or nobody is making that complaint. That's a cultural reference. Nobody, but nobody. That's a cultural reference. I don't think any of you will know. I think that was a local Fresno cultural reference. Was it Roger Rocca or Al, what was his name? A lot of times there are local, like car dealers and other businesses would have him do advertisements. And it was just nobody but nobody. As a matter of fact, I think that was a car dealer local to Fresno. Does anybody else recognize that? Nobody but nobody. Okay. How am I doing over here? Now, I think I'm guessing that Carrie is responding to something, some specific segment in that Friday's video. I don't know what it was. I don't think it matters, but I've given my take on that subject, I think. Charles Purdy, request live chat access. Charles Purdy. Oh, Charles, didn't we just see Charles Purdy in when I was looking through the dashboard as a recent new member? Yeah. Charles Purdy, are you in chat now? Because being a member, I think, will do it. Charles. Nope. Don't see you there. So let's go do this. For those who know what I'm referring to, I'll be on this. Okay. Charles Purdy, if you're out there, you should be able to chat now. Where do we go? Oh, see all those others that I did, the heart and the thumbs up, they're already gone. And there's nobody new in here. 1 hour ago. So that would have been during the show. But he was already a member. You should have already been able to chat. Unless members do not qualify as approved chatters, I don't know. What about the multi-boot topic? Okay, sure. Let's go on to that because I finished my blunder. I finished Carrie v. Doug, and now the multi-boot topic. Let's go. I still don't see Charlie. Oh, you don't hear SpeakerBot? Really? I did not look at, yeah, sure enough. Sure enough, you don't. Here it is right here. It's in red. I checked my microphone. I got that confirmation. I heard the SpeakerBot announce itself. I did not watch the audio indicator. Let's see. I think I can demonstrate this to you. I think here, no, you're not seeing enough of the audio indicator. How do I have this set up now? Monitor 2. Oh, well, I'm just going to go ahead and do this here to validate to myself that the audio graphics is not showing up. Yeah, I'm hearing it, but it's not showing on the SpeakerBot because it's in red. So what I've got to do, yeah, SpeakerBot, not StreamerBot. Do that. That should fix it. How is it that I didn't know that?
Yes, affirmative.
Yeah, I saw the audio indicator show that, so I know you heard that. Has anybody heard about React OS? Favorite one in drive an open source environment. So is this a competitor operating system to Windows? Absolutely not interested. Because the software my clients' offices specify Windows operating systems. So this would be for an individual enthusiast to use as an alternative, if I'm assuming correctly that that's what this is. React OS. All right, let me get on to the community topic about the multi-boot. Oh, it's a Linux distro with Wine pre-installed to run Windows apps. Yeah, I have zero interest. If you guys want to chit chat about that between yourselves, have at it. I'll go get to that email about multi-boot. Yeah, it's this one. Email address not exposed. From Darren B. A few days ago, this email was 3 days ago, so on Wednesday. So I think that on the Wednesday morning show, I think Darren B was in chat and asked right near the end if we wanted an update from him about his issue. And I said yes. And so he very kindly gave us a pretty big write-up here. And to start out, he clarifies something. Let's see. Hey there, Mr. Doug. I was just about to message you in live chat. He actually did. And you ended the show. LOL. Oh, well. Thanks for letting me know about exclamation mark C. He had tried to do, I think, just exclamation mark and then type his message. Please correct me as to which is it. C exclamation. It is exclamation mark, then C. And all of those speaker bot commands are shown at the beginning of each show. You should be able to scroll up. Well, now the show has been going on too long, so I can't go back that far. But at the beginning of the show, the speaker bot tells what all the commands are that you can use. So exclamation mark C, then a space, then type your message. Or you could type a message and on the next line just do exclamation mark C, and I will see your prior message, even if some other people have slipped in some chats between those two. To give you an alert, I will try my best to remember that next time I discover a live show. Yeah, and the next time you discover a live show, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time, except once in a while I will cancel the show. And Saturdays, 11 a.m. Pacific time for 2 hours. The weekday shows are intended to be about half an hour long. Hope you and all of yours are well and had a fun-filled, fantastic holiday season. Well, I enjoyed the holiday season. I don't know that I'm going to call it fun-filled. Fantastic. That's a little over the top. Mine are just kind of routine, easy to deal with. On that point, hearing Carrie's recounting of his Los Angeles vacation. Oh, man. I don't know how he still enjoyed it. He enjoyed it, but no. I don't do vacations. For those of you who aren't aware of this, I do not take vacations. I will take time off at the drop of a hat during the week, weekend, whenever I want to, whenever I feel I need it, for whatever amount of time I feel I need to do. I don't have to wait for a particular time of year or a planned trip. And I so often hear people tell the stories of their vacation that turned out to be very disappointing and stressful. No, I get to take time off anytime I want with very little moderation to that. I'm not going to take time off this weekend because I got too many client things that I need to deal with. Now about the smaller eyes comment. Yeah, you made a comment about smaller eyes. I had no idea what that meant. You remember the movie Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? Oh, it's a cultural reference that you thought I would automatically understand just with saying smaller eyes. No. It's a corny sense of humor joke, but when the kids were small, everything was huge to them. Hence, I need smaller eyes, so what I'm looking at is bigger. All right. Thanks for explaining that. I do like to have explanations for those things, even though I poked a little fun at it. To refresh your memory, Mom's computer and other peripherals were wiped out by a lightning strike. The issue was getting the dual boot operating systems to work. Windows XP worked. However, because Windows 10 was on the other hard drive, I tried to boot Windows 10 without that drive connected to the system. Now, it gets a little confusing here. Which that? Is that referring to the Windows XP or the Windows 10? I think because he was making a mistake here, that he's saying he had the Windows 10 drive disconnected, but he was trying to boot to Windows 10. The issue was getting the dual boot operating systems to work with Windows X to work. Windows XP worked. Okay, missing punctuation there, I think. The issue was getting the dual boot operating systems to work. Windows XP worked. However, because Windows 10 was on the other hard drive, I tried to boot Windows 10 without that drive connected. The right way to do this would be without the Windows XP connected, right? Oh, no, I know what's going on here. All right, I think we'll get this cleared up. Automatic repair kicked in and caused a huge problem. Afterward, I discovered Windows 10 was on the other hard drive, not the third drive, the other hard drive. Not this drive, the other drive. Which it was too late. The Windows 10 no boot condition was not fixable. At least it was beyond my ability despite my best efforts. I haven't yet fully completed the task. I'm going to reinstall Windows 10 and the programs she uses. Installing is going to be a two-step process because the latest version 22H2 won't boot from the thumb drive. I get a blip of the Windows 10 logo when trying to boot from a thumb drive. And then the screen goes black with a blinking cursor and nothing else happens. I'm thinking that maybe the thumb drive is either UEFI or legacy, and your BIOS is set contrary. I'm thinking
Read
that's
chat,
why the
please.
thumb drive's not working. I'm going to take a peek at that request before I turn to it. Yeah, I think you're probably along the right lines, Rand. So, but let's take it from him. Two-step process. Won't boot from the thumb drive. Okay. I'm going to try this way. I have an official commercially produced copy on DVD that will boot off the CD drive. Setup works with it. So it might be that that one is legacy. The thumb drive is UEFI. Then I can run setup from the jump drive with the older version of Windows 10 booted. So he's going to use the DVD to actually install Windows 10 and then use setup from the thumb drive, jump drive, to upgrade to the Windows 10 that's on it. And that's okay, even if you have the conflict between legacy and UEFI. The setup that's on that thumb drive should work with whatever your computer is currently booted on. I've already done this a couple of times, so I know everything is compatible. I would prefer Windows XP to be on the second partition and Windows 10 on the outer partition, because as I understand, the outer partition of the drive is the fastest. Okay, I'm going to mark where I left off there. The outer partition. I'm thinking that when you see that graphic image of the partitions that are on a drive, I suspect he's thinking that the first partition is on the outer portion of a spinning hard drive. I don't know that that's valid. I absolutely do not know. I take exception to the idea that the first partition is on the outer portion of a spinning drive. That could be the case. I'm just saying I don't know that. And the speed difference, don't think is under normal circumstances would be enough of an issue. Now, I know I'm going to take heat for this, mentioning that which should not be mentioned, Harry Potter reference, he who should not be named. If that's a spinning drive, you can revive its functionality with SpinRite. That's what SpinRite is for, not data recovery. I know the website says data recovery. That's unfortunate. But improving the operation of a spinning drive, and they've found SSDs, is something that SpinRite does do. That the $300 data recovery will not do. They will never repair the functionality of a drive. If you have a drive that you don't need the data off of it, if you need the data, go to $300 data recovery. If you want to revive that drive so it'll be functional again, that's where SpinRite is a place to go. Am I going to catch heat for that? Oh my God. Well, Windows XP doesn't like it if I shift the partition. Yeah, you don't want to move a partition, an operating system partition, a bootable operating partition. No. You could extend it, you could shrink it. But move it, I don't know. I think what you got there is the boot configuration data is expecting it to be at a certain location. Now, I'm not an expert on boot configuration data, but I think so. In setting up Windows 10, it places a hidden 50 megabyte partition at the front of the drive. I'm inclined to think, well, at the front of the drive of that graphic.
Read chat, please.
Is that at a faster portion of the drive? I don't know. Okay, I'll go catch some read chats because this is the second one. Let's see, it both ran Israel. I'll take this first one. Probably WinDrive on one, WinXP and boot files for both systems on drive C. Yeah, I think he actually tells us that further along if he hasn't already told us that. But yeah, I think that's why he had a problem when he had one drive removed. Windows XP is still using boot INI. It can be edited to point to the new partition. Okay, so that he says it doesn't like being moved. So maybe if he knew how to do that, it'd be okay. It never comes up in his email, but this all would have been saved if he had image backups, right? The computer was damaged by lightning, replace the drive, restore your image backups. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I think Rand is saying obviously to that, or maybe he's replying obviously to something else. I don't know. Yeah, I'm deducing there that time for him is much cheaper than parts. Yeah, he's replying to the backup. Yeah, I don't think there's any mention in here about backups. So that would be my most significant response is, I hope you do you've learned your lessons about image backups. You can do it for free. You just need some space for it. In setting up Windows 10, it places hidden 50 meg partition at the front of the drive. I tried using the recovery console Windows XP to repair it from the disk and adding the recovery console as a boot option. Neither way worked. My plan is to create the 50 megabyte partition with Windows XP working and let Windows 10 see Windows XP during the setup and add it to the BCD file in the 50 megabyte partition. It will be an experiment to see if it works. Now highlight this. This is a person who is experimenting. This is not a professional technician working for his client. He's working for his mom. Well, he's doing this for his mom. How much of this is experiment? Not really worried about the most time efficient way to deal with the issue. And also, I don't know what is the reason for Windows XP in the first place? I'm going to assume it's some software that mom has that is obsolete, that she doesn't want to replace with something current. Like I've had clients with genealogy software, it's very difficult to go to a modern product and have to re-enter all the entries because it doesn't have a capability of export and export. There are some export and import capabilities from some software to another, but not all of them have that capability. Not all of them do it well. In some cases, the old information was not entered quite correctly, so the import process doesn't work right. And some of you are going to be all over them about just take the opportunity to go to Windows 11, new computer, and get everything modern and current. That comment is very, very valid, as opposed to all this effort that you're putting into it. But I do appreciate you giving us your experience, and some people I hope will take away the lesson: image backups. Regardless whether you're dealing with an old operating system or not. I don't care how current your hardware is, how current your operating system is, it's all brand new. You should be implementing image backups now on anything that you care about. If the computer gets totally wiped out, gets stolen, everything that was on that computer is gone from your premises. If you're not going to be upset about that, then okay. So in some environments, maybe you have everything in the cloud. Now, cloud's supposed to be backed up as well. That very rarely happens, in very rare instances that cloud experiences damage, but it can. Cloud synchronizes with your computer. If your computer gets some kind of virus that spreads through all your files, that spreads to your cloud storage. Now, many cloud storage you can revert to older versions on the cloud, and the older versions are protected against modification. But that can be very inconvenient to do, very difficult to accomplish. Going on. I am not worried about losing any data now because of the extra hard drives I have now. 2 Western Digital refurbished units, each one is 2 terabytes. Say that 3 times fast, LOL. Anyway, there's a good update for you. The spinning drives are fine. I don't have any problem with using spinning hard drives. I don't think everybody needs to translate everything to SSD. Long-term storage on spinning drives to save money because you get much better price point per terabyte. That's fine. Get over it, all you SSD snobs. Good update for you. Yeah, I'm at my time limit here. I'll get the last paragraph. I was just about to conclude this email. I remembered her power supply took a dump.
Read
Oh
chat,
yeah,
please.
this is interesting. Why to use XP today? I'm not going to do that at this episode because I'm ready to. And Zavi Minor says, ask Copilot why use XP today. All the time. If you want to ask me again, like during the week, I'd be happy to do that, but I'm out of time. I'm not going to go there now. It's a good idea though. See what it says. All the time investigating and working with the replacement motherboard and original drives and my 300 gigabyte Seagate dual boot drive, the power supply was secretly dying on me. I set up Hiren's boot DVD on my drive as a boot option, and it would start booting and go dead with the exception of one keyboard light. I forget which one. I'm assuming it means like caps lock versus num lock. If it did manage to complete the Hiren's boot, there was a high possibility it would just go off, turn off, just like the plug was pulled with the exception of the light on the keyboard. Anyway, after some searching, I found an exact replacement, ordered it, the power supply he's talking about, brand new in a box. So far it works as it should. Just for fun, keep in mind, open to experimenting, this is just for fun, I intend to replace most of the caps in her original drive. I think he means the capacitors in the original power supply, and see if that resolves its shutoff problem. If it fixes it, then we have a backup power supply. Yeah, power supply. So that confirms power supply, not drive. I have the same model and wattage power supply in my system. Anyway, I'll report back after I've completed my experiment. It was good to see you again, even though we didn't get to chat in today's live show. All right, thank you. Thank you very much for giving us that rundown, Darren B. And it is time to shut down. And we never saw who was it? Charles Purdy. Yep. Just make sure. Nope. Char was there. Richard. All right. I have a redirect for Carrie's show in progress. His show is in progress. Good night. Yeah, there we go. All right. Have a great weekend, everybody. I will catch you later. I'm planning normal show on Monday. Tuesday is in jeopardy. I might not have a show on Tuesday. Goodbye.
That's all.